Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations where we generally look at one or another of the lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the daily office lectionary. And I thought today let's take a look at the lesson that's assigned for morning prayer from the book of Samuel. Now remember on Saturday we talked about how we began two new books for morning and evening prayer in the lectionary. We began the book of Daniel and we began the book of Samuel, the prophet Samuel. So we talked about Daniel on the beginning of Daniel on Saturday. Let's talk about Samuel, and we actually pick up at verse number 12 at the beginning of the first book of Samuel. And it came to pass as she continued praying before the Lord that Eli marked her mouth. Now Hannah, she spake in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she had been drunken. And Eli said unto her, How long wilt thou be drunken? Put away thy wine from thee. And Hannah answered and said, No, my Lord, I am a woman of sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord. Count not thine handmaid for a daughter of Belial, for out of the abundance of my complaint and grief have I spoken hitherto. Then Eli answered and said, Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him. And she said, Let thine handmaid find grace in thy sight. So the woman went her way, and did eat, and her countenance was no more sad. And they rose up in the morning, and worshipped before the Lord, and returned, and came to their house in Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah his wife, and the Lord remembered her. Wherefore it came to pass, when the time was come, about after Hannah had conceived, and she bore a son, and called his name Samuel, saying, Because I have asked him of the Lord. Okay, so the background story is that Eli's the priest. He's the high priest, and he spies Hannah. Hannah is fasting and praying. Her husband has gone in to make his offering and his sacrifice, and he loves her very much, but she's not been able to produce an heir, and he's okay with that. He's a good and righteous man, but Hannah wants a child, and so she makes a promise to God in her prayer that she will dedicate this child to the service of the Lord. And we know in the coming days we'll hear about exactly what that means. But I always find it interesting that Eli sees her praying and moving her lips and no sounds coming out. And apparently this was not very common. You either prayed in your head or you prayed out loud, but to move your lips, and she must be drunk. And of course she's not drunk. Eli doesn't know what her prayer request is. Notice that. She just says she's got a special need. She has a sorrowful, then she's poured her soul out from the Lord. And so Eli just prays God that God will hear this request, right? He's the high priest, and he offers up that prayer to God right there in that moment. May God grant to you that which you are desiring. He has no idea what that is, but it is good, and it is righteous, and it is holy. And we know that ultimately the result of that is that once she and Elkanah go home, they conceive a child in her womb by natural means, and in fact that child will be Samuel, the great prophet. So anyway, so again we have this change of what's going to happen with Israel. Samuel becomes this great prophet, and from Samuel then will come the kings will be anointed, etc., etc. So we're really moving through this history of the people of the original covenant and their relationship to God as time comes on. So anyway, good stuff. Please make sure you do your reading, and most importantly, please make sure that you are praying for us. Today is Monday, and I do actually have a family reunion for the rest of the week, but I'll be in today. I'll be at the altar at 12:15 for Holy Communion, and then we also have a baptism today. Somebody who lives out of state, a member of extended family, St. John's, and this is today. We're going to have the baptism at 1:30, so it's all great things here at St. John's. So if you can join us for that, that would be great as well. 12:15 Holy Communion. We'll have that live streamed. 1:30 baptism. And I hope that you will keep us in your prayers, and I hope that your Monday is full of blessings.